Hello, thanks for watching this short video focusing on the new QuickBooks Online. And there's a couple preferences that are key to consider. Automatically applying credits to customer invoices and also auto applying bill payments to bills, whether you want them on or off. So if you're used to QuickBooks Online, it still behave the same, just in a different area. If you're new to QuickBooks Online, then now you know about a couple features you didn't before. You click on the gear icon and go to Company Settings, and it'll bring us into our Preferences window. Let's talk about customers first, sales form entry, and then apply credits. So automatically apply credits. Again, most businesses will turn this on. It automatically applies existing credits to the next invoice you create for that same customer, not to existing invoices, but to the next one. Right? So most people just leave it on. However, if you're kind of managing or maintaining deposits or credits for the customers as the accountant or bookkeeper or just whoever's working for the small business, and you want more control or it's not automated, you should probably keep it off. Right. So when the preference is off, and the preference here explains it in great detail, but no credits will be applied to it, and you would just go to the customer received payment to actually apply the open credits. When the preference is on, when you create an invoice, existing credits are automatically applied. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let's go look at that, and then we'll go look at it on the vendor side. So I have a customer that has a credit memo, and this is the CDR customer here. If I click in and it goes into their customer center, I created a credit memo. And notice it's not going to apply, this 5388 is not going to apply in any open invoices that I might have for the particular client, but it will apply to the next one that I'm going to create. But first I want to turn that preference on. So I'm going to go back to the gear icon, company settings, and then sales form entry, apply credits, and then go ahead and check that off. Click Save. So I have the credit memo there. I go back to customers and then drill in on CDR. Credit memo is still there, hasn't been used yet or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and create a new invoice for CDR. Choose their product and service. It was some kind of a framing, I think I did for them. Yep. And we'll say it was 500 bucks. And I'm going to go ahead and save and close this. You'll notice back in the customer center under transactions, invoice credit memo, partial status. So an amount was paid against this particular invoice that I just created. Let's go ahead and take a look at that invoice. And on the invoice, you might say, well, you had a credit memo for $50, and it was just more of the example that I did, but I can go ahead and click on the payment and then click on the date, which will take me to that receive payment window. And notice automatically applied, I had actually had two credits. One was a deposit that I put in the register, which is another thing to consider with that preference. Any deposit I put in there or a credit memo on the next invoice will apply it against it automatically, and that's what it does. That's why you're seeing 15388 as opposed to just 5388. So that's how it works on the customer side. Now let's talk about the vendors right now. Let's go to the vendors area, and I believe I have a good example here of a particular vendor, a Blakey, one overdue bill. Right, nothing applied to it yet or anything like that. If I were to go to the actual register, and again, I right-click duplicated to have a second tab there. You guys can do that, and I'll go to transactions and registers, and I'll go ahead and double-click on the checking register. Yeah, so I actually put the bill payment in the register you're seeing here after I filtered this register by create date. So I have Blakey here, it's hitting accounts payable, which would have created a debit balance, and I put in a memo, it should auto apply to the oldest, this 100 bucks off the oldest bill that he has. So what I'll do is I'll go to, you guessed it, settings, company settings, and go to vendors and purchases, and then apply bill payments, and again, automatically apply bill payments. So this preference controls how bill payments work when you add them from the register. When the preference is on, bill payments automatically apply to existing vendor credits and bills. So most companies turn it on. However, again, if you want to have control over which bills are paid by a particular bill payment, then definitely turn it off. That's something to consider. What kind of automation do you want? So it just shows an example with the preference off, and then of course with the preference on. So I'm going to go ahead and check it off and click save, and then we'll go back to that vendor center and refresh it there. So back on the vendor list, you scroll down to Blakey, and then when we pull up the actual bill payment, you see it's $50 is what's left. That's the balance. Remember, it was $150, but it automatically applied that, payment from the register of $100 towards it, and then you have $50. So really cool feature within QuickBooks Online. Hoping that was helpful, and you guys have a great day there.